if you've been lied to, betrayed, or just plain conditioned to stay small, but deep down, you know you're built for more, this is your wake-up call. I'm Tina Parker, faith-fueled, fire-built, and here to burn the bullshit down. Every episode, we break down the lies, decode the headlines, and rebuild your trust in yourself, in truth, and in the assignment on your life. This is the assignment. Let's go. You guys ready? Today we're talking about the rebirth, okay? The rebirth of self-trust. How women reclaim power after betrayal, conditioning, or survival mode. Do you believe that you can do that? Okay, you have to believe first. Before anything changes, you have to have faith, okay? Faith is believing in something you have not seen yet, okay? You have to have belief and you have to trust, okay? And sometimes it's really hard to have trust in others and, more importantly, in yourself. Why? Because we've been breaking lies to ourselves. We've been breaking promises to ourselves all of our life, okay? Because we've been told we're not good enough. You can never do that. You're fat, and you believe that, and you've conditioned yourself, okay? It's all been part of making people weak, I believe, okay? I think it's all been intentional, all right? There's been a lot of just people not, believing they need to be on systems, on, like government assistance. We're seeing some crazy stuff on government assistance, and I'm going to talk about that. All right, let's go. I used to think peace would come when people started treating me better, or maybe when the money came, or when the pain stopped, the sadness. But peace didn't come when they changed my outside situation, the people, the businesses, the school, whatever it is, okay, where you work. It didn't come when they changed. It finally came when I decided to trust myself again. Today I'm going to teach you how to do that, okay? All right. This is the thing, is I grew up, if you feel like this, I probably grew up just like you. If you were overweight, I was told I was fat. I was told that, because I had really low GPAs, 1 point something, we grew up on welfare. My circle, because I grew up on welfare, I was surrounded by weak leadership. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe sorry, Mom, but my mom's boyfriends, and their friends, or maybe it's your neighbors. When you are living in environments, in areas where the people there aren't successful. Now, what I say, there's different levels of success, right? So maybe they feel like they're successful, okay? So that's their level of success. You might have, everybody has their own, what success means to you. Success for me, okay, when initially was, first of all, when I had my daughter, I wanted to get off welfare. Because I did get on welfare temporarily because I needed to. I was 16 when I got pregnant and had her at 17, but my parents did not ever enable me. When I got pregnant, they were like, "Hey, you're on your own. Figure it out." They didn't even tell me what to do to figure it out. Like, I had to figure it out on my own. I didn't have insurance. I had to figure out how to get on Baby Your Baby. Everything I had to just and I didn't know what to do, but I just slowly, was figuring it out along the way. And I highly believe that I had a bigger power. I had our Creator, Yahweh is his name. I had him helping me along the way because people would show up. Okay, I was going to the doctor. Here's an example. I was going to the doctor and I didn't have insurance when I was pregnant, and so all of a sudden one day the doctor said, "Have you heard of Baby Your Baby?" And I said, "No." And she said, "Well, it's a program help people like you, to help people that don't have insurance and you don't have, a source of income and that." And I'm like, "Oh," and she gave me a brochure and I just followed the steps. So she was like my doctor, but yet she was also a guide. She was also an angel for me because she kind of helped me understand what was available to me. All right. And then I would meet different, I mean, I met people along the way when I got a job. Oh, a very good friend of our family. Okay, my daughter was 2 months old and I needed to go out and get work. A friend of the family was an HR manager at Kmart. Yeah, that tells you how old I am, right? Okay, so she said, "Tina, you can apply, you know." And so I went there, applied, and got the job. I started out as a cashier. And when I got there, I worked so hard because you know what? Every day I was so grateful that I was given an opportunity for this job. I mean, I was making $3 and something cents an hour. Okay, who's excited about that? Now, I mean, at this point, I was so freaking excited just because I had the opportunity. And then I was even more excited because I was getting recognized for doing my hard work and people were liking me, like the customers. And I'd see my regulars. And then I got a promotion, to the service desk. And then I got another promotion to home improvement manager. And, all these different promotions came around, right? And I was just like, I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, I'm a dropout. I was a 1.5 to 1.8 GPA. I can't even believe this is all these good things are happening to me. So all these little beautiful humans were that just all they did is like show me an opportunity and I went into it excited. I went into it so grateful and I performed and I was recognized for that. I got promotions after promotions, okay? But then after 5 years at Kmart, I needed to I because the daycare they wanted me to start working weekends. And I couldn't work weekends. I mean, I didn't have daycare provider for weekends. And so I thought I got in I mean, back then I think it was like a paper. I looked and there was an ad for a bank teller. And I was like, I'm just going to try it. I need something that is it's like the same hours as the daycare and they're open the same days of the week as the daycare because I don't have weekend help. And so in my brain, I was thinking, I just have to try. So I did. And I got the job. And I could not even believe it. Like I wanted to cry. Um I got the job and I was so grateful. I was so excited. I worked hard. I went there early. I never took day even though I had all this vacation time, I rarely took a day off because I just always wanted to be above and beyond. Like, and if I didn't have anything planned, I wasn't just going to take a day off. I didn't call in sick. I mean, I really enjoyed my job. I loved talking to people. I loved helping them. And then after 2 years, I was I was seeing other people get promotions and I didn't feel I was like, why am I not getting promoted? Like these people that are getting promoted, they haven't even been here as long as I have. And they're off balance on their teller, on their drawer all the time, and we're staying late for them. Why am I not getting offered these promotions? And you know what I realized at the end? Well, first I'll tell you what happened. I After a while, it started really eating at me. And my boss went on vacation, okay, the branch manager. And when she went on vacation, our vice president of the credit union called and I was kind of like a trainer teller at this point. I was kind of like a lead teller. And I was he asked me how everything is going. And he caught me on an emotional day. Maybe I was hormonal. I don't know. And I said, everything's great and everything. But then I kind of dove into, I'm kind of frustrated, Mark. And I just want to understand this. I don't even know how I brought it up because this was so long ago. It was over 20 years ago. So I said, I noticed so and so got a promotion to start doing loans. And I don't understand it because I'm here. I never call out sick. I was pointing out all the things that she does all the time and I was never doing. You know what I mean? Like I'm here, I never call out sick. I'm here early. I balance every single day. You know, I I'm training people. I'm I'm just so loyal. Like I just don't understand why I wasn't offered this position. And he just listened to me. He was one of my angels. Like he was a huge influence in my life because I get choked up when I think about it. Because he helped me grow like crazy in that organization in banking. You know, he told me to read the book From Good to Great. Anyway, long story short, I got the promotion. I mean, when my boss came back from her vacation, she pulls me in her office and she says, Tina, I there's a position open at this other branch. And I want you to, I think it would be a great opportunity. You know, Mark, I was talking to Mark, and he thought it would be a great opportunity for you. And I was like, are you kidding me? I was so grateful. So I applied and I got it. And then there was another thing that came open, an underwriting position. And he called me and he said, you should apply for this. And I was thinking, I actually said to him, because we became so close in a way that I was comfortable. And the way he communicated with me, he had that open door policy. So I could always talk to him about what was on my heart or what, he knew my life. He knew I was a single mom. And he said, you should apply for this position as an underwriter. And I said, I can't get, how do you think I'm going to get that position? And I had been doing a good job, doing loans at that particular branch. And he says, I just think you should try. And so I did because I trusted him. He hadn't steered me wrong. Like I knew he had my best interests at heart, but he said it will be good for your career. So I applied and it ended up being such a wonderful opportunity for me. For 2 years, I learned how to underwrite and, you know, um, understand how to, look at credit, learn how to, I always look for ways I could approve it, not, how can I decline this loan? Anyway, it was just such a beautiful experience. But then I love people and I missed people and I was behind the scenes. Long story short, this man was a huge influence and I believe he was a gift. I believe I've had so many since then. So that's why I have faith. That's why I believe in a bigger, I mean, honestly, look at us. Like we're too perfect, The miracle of the human. I mean, how we have babies and the miracle of how they, grow in the belly and how we're able to heal. And it's all miracles, If you don't believe in the creator, how could you not? And I believe there's people that enter our lives intentionally. That's why I have faith. So that's why I'm asking you. You may not have experienced some of these things. And I promise you, when you start getting around different environments and around people that want to see you win, that speak different than those, lower, kind of the lower class. It is what it is, right? Okay. I don't mean to say lower class, but low income housing. Okay. You have to get around new people. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. You have to get around new people. And when I got around, the financial industry, I was surrounded by winners. I was surrounded by people that, like were from different backgrounds, and it wasn't just that same low income housing. Okay, so I wanted to share that story because I wanted you to understand how important it is to trust and how important it is to have faith, because sometimes based on your environment, you may not have ever been able to experience faith, like real faith. And I want you to know that when you step outside of that and get around new people, you'll see it all the time. When you are obedient, you are blessed. That's all I know. Okay? So I wanted to share that, personal story with you of all the time. And that I didn't even give you all of them. Okay? There's so many from there. Okay? And I believe I'll have even more. And I believe that if you can get around, if you don't have big faith like that, if you haven't experienced it in your life, and your life will change when you change your environment. All right. So let's talk about though our personal self-trust. Okay. So you might have been lied to, betrayed, have some trauma from when you were a kid. And so it's really hard to trust adults, different other humans, because depending on how bad it was, it could really affect you. And until you get out of that environment and get into new environments around new people that are winning, then it's hard to see that, okay? And it's hard to start trusting. So let's talk about what breaks self-trust, okay? We're talking about the self, not the trust in others. But a lot of times we don't even have trust in ourselves, all right? So here's some common experiences that women face. One, you're betrayed by a partner, okay? We've all been betrayed by a partner, right? Feeling like and so you lack self-trust because afterwards you noticed that there were signs, but you ignored the red flags, right? We've been there. Religious manipulation, okay? This isn't just about relationships. And it's all coming out to light. Tell me in the comments if you've noticed anything, okay? Religious manipulation, like the feeling guilty into silence or submission. They manipulate you and cause you to feel guilt and all these things because you're not, following everything that they're saying, not what the book says, what they're teaching, what their expectations are, because I promise you it's different. Family gaslighting. You're being told you were too much, too emotional. Maybe something that happened to you, they're saying that wasn't that. They're telling you you were wrong. You know what I mean? So you're holding on to that. And maybe it's not family, maybe it's friends. Okay? School systems. Being taught to obey, not to think, memorize, not to explore. The educational system, I believe it will get better, but I believe because of what we've learned, there's going to be new ways of teaching children. Things that I believe should have been in the school system, this whole time. Like, why are we teaching people just to go get a 9-to-5 job? Why are we not teaching people personal development skills? Why are we teaching them how to trust themselves? Like what I'm sharing with you right now. All these things should be taught in school. Corporate conditioning, that's another one, huh? Believing your worth was tied to productivity. I believe that productivity speaks a lot about an employee. Like if they're not productive, what are they spending their time on? Maybe they just don't believe in themselves. That could be why someone's not productive. Maybe they're dealing with some personal issues, that they haven't discussed. There's a lot of reasons why someone might not be productive, but believing that your worth is tied to your productivity, that's corporate conditioning. Okay? There's so much in the corporate world, where they don't give you freedom to like build your own brand. You can't be unique. They want you to all be the same robot, pretty much. Here's a real world example. Personally, one thing for me is sometimes the church might say, never leave your husband. you stay in it no matter what. Okay? If you're a man, maybe you've been told this about a wife. But if you have someone that is beating you, if you have someone that is not loyal, if you have someone that you can't, I mean, you don't have to stay in a marriage if it's not working. If they're not willing to make some changes, there's give and take. Like, we both need to work on these things. There needs to be communication. There needs to be so many things, you know? And that's wrong to say someone has to stay with someone that's not right for them, you know, or destructive or toxic. I believe that we can go through things in the marriage and we can agree to work on it if we want to stay together, but it has to be both people wanting to work on it. And if that isn't happening, then you shouldn't have to stay. You should be able to go, you know? If you're not subscribed to my channel and you're getting anything out of this, I hope that you have it in your spirit to subscribe. If you feel it in your spirit that someone else, a friend, a coworker, anyone that you know could use this information, share this episode with them. I'd really appreciate it. So let's talk about what rebuilding self-trust looks like in real life. Okay. So this segment is about, if you've done this, you're already on your way. Okay. You said no. So say someone asked you something. Okay. And you said no without worrying about explaining everything and why you're saying no. That's showing self-trust. Say no and you didn't over-explain. Rested without guilt. Yeah, we need rest. Sometimes we need a detox from social media. Sometimes we need to, you know, we're extra tired. You know, we've been putting out so much, you know, maybe we've been putting out so much production or mental work that it's okay to rest and don't feel guilty for it. Okay? That's trusting yourself. Stop asking for permission to feel. That's the thing, is like, if you in your healing process, you might have been through things. You don't have to, and you can feel it. I don't think we want to hang on to it. It doesn't serve us to hang on to it. I think we should feel it. We should get it out of our system. If you need to talk about it, if you need to scream, if you want to dance, whatever, okay? Feel it. And you don't have to ask for permission for that. My throat was feeling scratchy. You start lifting weights and walking again without feeling guilty for pouring into yourself. One thing that I had to realize is when I started going to the gym every morning, and that became my non-negotiable. At first I hated it. Then I started, you know, I was on the elliptical for 45 minutes. And I didn't start doing this until almost 40. I felt guilty at first because I'm doing this. And sometimes it was putting people out, you know, like family members. They were like, "Do you have to go do that?" And I didn't want to feel sorry. I didn't want to feel bad for it. I had been pouring in myself into everyone else all my life and never to myself. And so finally over time, I was like, no, this is my time. I started going to the gym at 3:30 in the morning for a couple of reasons. Okay. I went there at that time because I was working at the bank and I needed to get a good workout in. It could be an hour and a half. Sometimes they were extra long. They were like 2 hours. An hour and a half to 2 hours long. And then I would go home, get my kids ready and do all that, you know, and then go to work. And my drive was like 30, 40 minutes. So I got up at 3:30 for that. And then when I stopped working at the bank, I still went at 3:30 because my body had always been getting up that early. And it just was like my own alarm clock. And also, I like to go when no one can disrupt me. Like, I don't want you to question whether I'm going to the gym or not. I'm going to go while you're still sleeping. You know what I mean? Everybody's like, Maybe you own a business and the phone starts ringing at 7 or 8, so you want to get to the gym early so you can get it in, no excuses. Or maybe your kids wake up at 7, so going early like that avoids any issues. I go when they're sleeping. So I went when the kids and my husband were sleeping. You chose foods that honor your body. Okay? At first it's challenging. You feel you have cravings still to go out and eat the food out, in the restaurants, which they're all those type of foods are not helping build muscle. They're not helping you I mean, you can go to some restaurants and they have like a really nice steak. You know, there's healthy alternatives when you go to a nice restaurant like that. But I'm talking about fast food. So when you make those changes, sometimes it seems like a burden or a pain in the neck. But over time, when you start honoring your body and you realize that food is fuel, and when you start learning how food can either make your body inflamed and acidic, or it can make you healthy and have oxygen in your blood so that your cells are free flowing. When you start learning how the body works and what makes it sick and all of these things, you start honoring your body, and you begin to trust yourself. Okay, that's part of self-trust. You left unread messages from people who didn't respect your peace. That's a good one, huh? I've been there where I felt like I have to answer everyone. You don't, and don't feel guilty for it. Trust yourself that you're making the right decision. You prayed in your car, cried in the mirror, and you got back up. That's trusting yourself, knowing that you can pray in the car, you can cry in the mirror, but then you got back up. Like, I trust myself because I know that me praying in the car and me crying in the mirror doesn't change. I have faith that and trust in myself that I can still get back up after this. Like, this is just a moment. I'm feeling it. So what these are, they're little micro victories, okay? Little micro wins. They don't even have to be big. Maybe you brush your teeth every morning because you haven't done that. Well, you want to, by the way. I brush mine morning and night, okay? And that's like a little win. I mean, I personally don't think of that as a win because it's so small. But you get to choose what a win is for you, and you can start them small. I brushed my teeth. I made my bed. I hydrated first thing in the morning. I went to the gym. Look at all those wins. You know what I mean? And then you came home and you ate a good, healthy protein meal to fuel your muscles. You're winning on repeat. Pretty soon. Okay, this is what the rebirth looks like. Pretty soon, you're like, wow, I'm a badass. Okay, not one big moment. It's not like one big thing, but it's daily decisions that you prove to your body that I got you now. Like, that you're winning. You're doing things, maybe you're doing things that those outsiders in that area that you live, they're not doing them, but you are doing them. You're the new leader. They want to follow you and they might give you flack in the beginning, going, who do you think you are? Now you're going to get all fit? Yeah, I am. Those are the crabs in the bucket. They're trying to pull you down. When you start making changes in your life, you're going to have people in your life that they try to pull you back down into this bucket of hell, okay? And I want you to know that you have every right to pull out and pull out from the bucket, the crabs in the bucket, okay? Those are the friends that are trying to hold you down because everyone experiences that. You're making them feel uncomfortable. They want you to stay down with them. That's how that works. We all get them, okay? Here's another thing. Fitness as the rebuild tool. There's always something that can help, but I believe when we start looking better on the outside and the inside, okay, your confidence will build. And when you have more confidence, you start to become unstoppable. Like, you'll do anything. You're not led by fear. You just know that you're worthy, that you don't worry about other people's opinions, all those things, okay? So I use fitness as a rebuild tool. Okay, so every rep is like a rewire. So that's why I'm doing this challenge. Okay, today's day 4. 100 heel elevated squats. And I'm doing like a little weight and I'm squatting. It's, you'll feel it. Okay, you'll feel it. Because the moment your legs shake, think of it like this. So you're doing these, right? And the moment your legs shake, and you'll feel them, and you'll have to pause. Okay, and I'm doing them, just so you know, I'm not doing 100 straight. What I'm doing is 20 to 25, and then I'll take like a minute break, and then I go back and do another set. Okay, so I'm either doing 5 sets of 20 or 4 sets of 25. Okay, so when your legs shake till you fit, but you still finish. Some people, their legs will shake, and then all of a sudden they'll say, I'm done. I'm not doing this. My legs are shaking. But when you are determined and you finish out the 100, now your body is trusting you and your body will start to believe you again. Isn't that cool how that works? We don't even realize that's what builds self-trust. So if you've had some trauma, the fitness that teaches you, you're safe to follow through. No one else is saving you. You are in a safe place. I got to the point where, like, I started winning so much that I was like, I can try everything, you know? And I know that I'll be, you know, I won't be that great in the beginning, but I knew that I would get better. I knew that I would get stronger the more you do it, you know, especially when you finish what you say you're going to do. That's a big part. So today I didn't just squat for my glutes, okay? I'm squatting to prove to my nervous system that I'm not quitting on myself, okay? So here's action steps for your rebirth, okay? Where have I outsourced peace? So what that might look like in real life. When he changes, when your boss recognizes you, when, you know, there's all these different things, okay? When I lose 20 pounds, when I make 6 figures, those are ways that you're outsourcing your peace. It's based on other conditions, okay? Where have I betrayed my own intuition? Okay, your own knowing. Okay, I knew something was off, but you stayed silent. Okay, that's when we betray our own intuition. That's like being with someone that you knew something was off, but you didn't say anything. You didn't communicate it. Okay, then we're betraying our own intuition, and we start to have lack of trust in ourselves. What's one small promise I can keep to myself today? Drink water before coffee. Every morning I drink this fire water. If you want the recipe, it's awesome because it helps clean the gut. It helps take away hunger. It helps with insulin spike. It helps with sugar issues. It's so good. Some health doctors that are more naturopaths, they'll say to drink apple cider vinegar like before every meal with a cup of water. It helps fill you up, and it helps make it so that when you do eat, that you don't overeat. Okay. But anyway, if you want the fire water recipe, let me know. Okay. So maybe you drink water before coffee. There's nothing wrong with coffee, but just make sure you hydrate first. And then you got to move your body. All right. So go on it. You know, maybe you're just getting started and you are like, I can't even fit it in. 20-minute walk. Okay. Pretty soon you'll start waking up earlier so you can do more because you'll love it so much. Especially if you realize that you love it and it becomes your non-negotiable, you'll want more. You'll crave it. You'll become obsessed. What evidence do I already have that I'm healing? I said no and I didn't apologize. Isn't that great? When you can do that, that means you're already healing. All right. You don't rebuild your life in one day. Know this, it doesn't happen in one day, but you do rebuild your self-trust one decision at a time. Every time you do these things, every time you tell yourself you're going to do something and you do it, all those little wins. And once that trust is back, nobody can take your peace ever again. you know, one thing I wanted to say is this whole, I don't know about you guys, but I'm seeing a lot of content around this government shutdown, and we have women losing their freaking minds over they might not get their food stamps. And you know what? How sad is that? Honestly. First of all, the government has in the past been a disservice to people, because when I was on welfare, they told me this is temporary. This isn't, this is to help you become self-sufficient. Well, I don't know what happened when I realized this years ago, but I saw people that were still on it even after I got off. And I was like, why do they get to still be on it? I thought that they were supposed to get off. The average person is on welfare for over 6 years. Is that crazy? And that comes from taxpayer dollars. So I was like, what is the difference between me being excited to get off and these folks that are dependent on that? We should never depend 100% on that. And if or one job, one stream of income, like, we need to help people create multiple streams of income. We need to help people. I want the government, I'll be honest, you may not like this, what I'm about to say. I want the government to cut it to like a 2-year period. And you only get to be on there for 2 years. And in that 2 years, you can be on it, but you've got to link up with a coach or with someone that's going to mentor you, invite you to these new rooms, these other tables, and you're going to learn and grow and get the personal development you need so that you don't have to be on there anymore. Because like I said, your environment, you stay where your environment is. So we have to get people into new environments and get them to learn, new things, new information, because they've been conditioned to stay in control, they're under control, so then when anything comes out, they think, oh, I have to do this or they'll cut me off. I cannot stand to see people like that. So that's kind of my mission, is to help create stronger women that aren't dependent on, that don't have a way to make a living. Like, even if you're married, I think you should have your own income. If your husband is a gazillionaire and he has all the money and you're protected, you have your own account with all your money, that's great. You can be a stay-at-home mom. I'm talking about women that your husband is barely getting by, and if he lost his job tomorrow, or if you got divorced tomorrow, that you're not going to be stuck with nothing. Okay, we can't have that. Okay, we need to create opportunities for women, more opportunities. We need to give opportunities to the people on welfare to get the mentoring, to get this personal development they need so that they can go out and do great things in the world. Okay, more serve and use their own story, their own voice to help the next generation. I love it so much. This makes my soul happy, and when you get to this place, then you are going to feel the same way. You know what I mean? You're going to be obsessed with the changes and how you can become better and all those things. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. This was the assignment, okay? Not just a YouTube show, but this is a mirror to remind you who you are, what you carry. You are unique, a child of God. You have him in you. You get that? That's how powerful you are. Okay, and that's what the world's been trying to make you forget. Did you know that? All those systems. Now, go live it. Go lead it. And if no one's told you today, you are the move. You are the message. And I'm Tina Parker, and let's keep shaking shit up. All right? Have a good day.